All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of AYS Fight Club. Thank you for joining the club tonight. I'm one half of your host, Daniel Dees. Alongside me, as always, is Matt Bricker. Matt, what's up?
Oh, glad to be back. Had to take the week off, aka 12 up in Shreveport. Great show to have MMA back in Louisiana. But back home.
Yes. All right. Before we get started, let's go ahead and shout out our sponsor for tonight, Pristine Home and Lawn LLC. Pristine Home and Lawn is a locally licensed and insured lawn care and residential/commercial power washing service. It cleans everything from brick and siding, driveways, parking lots, roofs, fences, and more. It'll wash anything you need it to wash and pressure wash. Bundle your home wash with lawn care and receive 15% off from now until the end of 2020. Like and share their Facebook page after you receive your free quote for an additional 10%. Make your home prestigious again. All right, Matt. So let's start off with the big news. Conor, he's back. The king is back, baby. Surprise, surprise. But in his way is going to be Louisiana local from Lafayette, Louisiana, Dustin Poirier. So what do you think about this fight?
The rematch we've all wanted. It seems like forever that it's been official, but I guess technically it was just considered official, earlier this week. So, we all kind of saw it coming. But yeah, definitely looking forward to it. I think Dustin's game's evolved, tenfold, from when their first meeting. He was a lot more of an emotional fighter back then too. He's a lot more, under control. I think that's going to play a large part of it. Conor beat people. He had him halfway beat before the bell even rang. That was kind of his thing when he first started. And Dustin was easily, could fall into that. He's a very emotional fighter, but he's learned to curtail that a little bit. So it's definitely going to be, and plus his skills have improved as well. So it's going to be totally different than the first fight.
Yeah, especially now that it's at lightweight division. Both guys are way more comfortable in than the featherweight division. And I pointed out to somebody on Twitter, on the AYS Fight Club Twitter page, that the value pick right now is Dustin Poirier at plus 185. In my opinion, like betting-wise, you can't get a better value than that. If you told me if Dustin Poirier is a plus 185 fighter, I'm throwing a lot of cash at that. Because you got to think about this. Since Conor's last win against Eddie Alvarez about 4 years ago, Dustin Poirier has gone 7-1 since Conor has had a win in the lightweight division. So just based off that alone, like the value pick, I'm not saying Dustin's going to win just based off of this, but that's where the money should flow to, just based off of that alone, because Conor has not fought at lightweight in 4 years. He's a welterweight guy now, for all intents and purposes. So if you were a betting guy, where are you throwing your money?
Oh, as of right now, you got to go with Poirier with those numbers. We'll see, when it gets closer, those lines can change a lot until then. But for right now, man, if you told me to pick a winner right now, I'd almost have to say I think Poirier is going to win. But a lot can happen, and then I like to see how they are during their training camp, how they look at weigh-ins. A lot of those things can give you telltales on how they're feeling, how things are going. Don't look like the boss agrees with me. But that's right now. Hey, this is like 2 months out. 2 months out. So I'm just.
We got until January to make an official pick.
Yeah, this is a quick off the cuff thing. Just going off of how things have been the past couple of years for these guys. Conor has taken a lot of time off between fights. You're not getting any younger in this sport. He's made it known. Obviously, he was in it for the money for a lot of time. Poirier is not in it for the money. If you know anything about this guy, he will fight anybody, anywhere, at any time, and that's something you can't teach. So right now, I know we're a couple months away, but right now, I'd have to say I think Poirier straight up would win.
Right, and you also got to factor in, like I said, Conor has been fighting at welterweight. He beefed up tremendously, so now he has to go back to the old weight cut like he would at featherweight. Because when he was a natural lightweight, he was just fine. Like he just had to cut about 5 or 6 pounds and he was good to go. But now that he's beefed up at welterweight, he's got to start making some serious cut. So we got to know if can he make that weight.
And one of the things that fighters have said that I've heard is once you fight at that higher weight, it's almost like a death sentence trying to cut back down because you've shown your body that you can go up to that weight and then trying to cut back down. You know, a lot of fighters say their body doesn't respond the same. You fight at 155, you make weight every time, no problem. You go up to 170 and you try to go back to 155, you almost don't make it because your body is thrown for that loop. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you can, you know, your body, you know, you can throw it off and, you know, who knows how good of a weight cut Conor's going to have going at 155. I see our boss is
he's like, why do y'all think it's not for a title?
Because
never say never. I think at the end of it, by December, by Christmas, I think it's going to be moved to a title fight.
I think it will be. I think right now is because Dana is so convinced that he thinks Khabib's going to come back that he doesn't want to, you know, take the title away from him. Especially with the whole news come out that, you know, Khabib took a USADA test, so that means he's still in the pool. Which once you're retired, you're taken out of the pool. So I think Dana's.
But you got to formally pull yourself out of the USADA pool for that. And plus, we're still in Q4, so even if he did formally pull himself out, he still has to take that test just because we're still in the same quarter.
Yeah, so
that prevents fighters from cycling, like retiring, then cycle, and whoop, I'm back.
Right. Yeah.
So it prevents that. So that's why he's still being tested.
Yeah, and I think it will. I think it will be for the title once we get closer to it. I think, like I said, Dana's just grasping the straws, hoping that, you know, he can convince him. It's like, oh, you know, I know Khabib wants 30. Khabib wants 30, but I don't know. Khabib may not want 30. He said today, he's like, you know, as of right now, I'm retired. You know, but we know with this sport with retirements, this is the worst sport to take athletes. You know, because this is different than any other sport in the world. This is a mentality. This is a lifestyle for a lot of these guys. You don't start fighting when you get older. Normally, it's something you've started at a very young age. It's a lot of these guys know how to do, and when you pull that away from them, they almost don't know what to do with themselves, and they revert back to it.
Right.
So, I mean, you never know with somebody like Khabib. I mean, this is obviously all he's never known. So he may thrive for that competition and be like, okay, I'm gonna get one more. Let me get that GSP. Dana may be thinking, hey, I'm saving up that GSP money to throw at him, and, you know, we don't know it yet. And then he's throws something at Khabib that he just can't pass up, you know, because there was this thing where his dad said, you know, I want my son to fight GSP. I think that'll define his legacy. And I think if Dana could pull that off, you know, I think Khabib may jump at that, knowing that was one of his dad's biggest thing is, you know, he knew his son was the greatest. He's like, I need him to fight GSP. So, you know, if Dana may be saving up, you know, and trying to pull out some big money to get him to come out. But, you know, we don't know what Dana's thinking. Dana's pulled off a lot. He was a part of the whole Floyd Mayweather Conor McGregor thing. We never thought that would happen. And, you know, it ended up happening. So, you know, shit, when it comes to MMA, you just never know what's going to happen.
That's true. And Khabib did come out and either today or yesterday and said that my competition days are over. But even if he were to come back, I was texting Blake yesterday. I was like, if Khabib comes back, it's not going to be at lightweight. I think he's done. We'll never see him in a lightweight title fight ever again, in my opinion. I think he's officially closed the book on Poirier, Conor. Like he has no interest in rematches, he said. So I don't think it will be for that strap.
GSP is not going to make lightweight. That is not ever going to happen. So it would have to be some kind of catch weight, which I think may, like, exactly to what you're saying, it may entice Khabib because it's not 155, so it's not what he's used to. He may look at it as something special, you know, as a special attraction. If Dana could sell it off to Khabib like that, you never know, especially if he can pull it off in Russia or something like that. You know, there's a lot of ways, you know, we don't know what Dana's pulled a lot of stuff out from under his hat. So, you know, if he's saving up this ammo to where, you know, hey, it'll be in Russia, you know, X amount of million, you know, you're hosting it, you know, you never know. We'll get all your buddies on the card too. You know, he may be able to do it.
Yeah, I think another reason why Khabib has not just straight up told Dana, take this title, I don't want it. I just think that at the end of it, he wants – I think personally my little conspiracy theory is that he wants Islam Makhachev to be ranked in top 5. He won't – Islam is to Khabib as Rory was to GSP. or as Arum Lobev
Arum
and
is the
Dylan
Conor,
Day is the Conor, right? So
Yeah.
I think he's using this as like a bargaining chip for his buddy
Absolutely.
Islam. So that's why I think he hasn't really relinquished the title. But like I said, I think it's going to be closer to Christmas by the time it's going to be revealed that Poirier Conor is for the strap.
Yeah, I think it will be announced that, like you said, it's already for 5 rounds, so they're already going to train for the 5 rounds. That's obviously your main event. So
I mean, the commission cares about. The commission knows it's already for 5 rounds. So
yeah,
the titles are arbitrary.
Right, and the commission can't determine titles; they can only, sanction rounds and stuff like that. So it doesn't matter. He can call it. It's for what. That's how they got away with the whole BMF title. It's not a real thing. It's just something they made up. Commissions don't care what you call it. You can call it a match, whatever you want to call it. They sanction it for the number of rounds, and that's it. So I think when it gets closer, that it will be, a title fight. Once it gets, like you said, into December, beginning of January, they'll start pushing out those posters.
Yeah. All right, we just got a comment from our guest coming up, Carlton Terrance. He's going to be on the show any minute now. I can't wait for him. I'm a huge fan of Carlton. I've been watching his stuff on Facebook. I've trained with who he's trained with. They speak so highly of him, so I'm very excited for this one.
And I've trained with Carlton.
Yeah,
personally, we've done a lot of striking because I train in boxing, so we've done a lot of striking together. I love Carlton. I mean, his reach is crazy. I can tell you firsthand, it's hard to get in on somebody like that. He's got a great reach at his weight class.
Yeah, and I've always said that a middleweight or a lightweight fighter, those two weight classes, if you have a long reach, you will go super far.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
Those middleweight, lightweight guys, they in the welterweight division, if you have the reach, you're at a huge advantage. Whereas lightweight, heavyweight, of course, you're going to have a monster reach because you're just a bigger guy naturally.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't wait to have Carlton on. That's going to be a fun interview. So, but let's go back to
we got AJ Fletcher as well too. We got him coming on.
No,
today
we got
2 guests. We got a double guest show for y'all today.
I know, special gift. Happy Thanksgiving, because next week, unfortunately, we will not be on.
Yeah,
we're going to spend time with our families.
We're making up for that for y'all. We'll give y'all another guest this week. We'll make up for next week. And then the week after, we got another guest. Justin Osborne's a professional MMA fighter, changed out of Syndicate MMA in Vegas. We'll have him on for you the week after. So we got the guests coming for y'all. We're rolling now. We
love our fans. We love the Fight Club. We're trying to get as many members as possible to come join us. This is our gift to y'all. We love our fighters. We love our local boys. Want to get them on here. We want them to shine bright like diamonds. But let's go back to Conor and Dustin while we wait for Carlton to get on. So you said if you're a betting man right now, you're throwing the money at Dustin. So say it's January. Both fighters are walking the cage. You're both on weight. How do you see this fight going down?
It's not going to the ground.
No.
I can tell you that this is going to be a striking. Man, but Dustin, man, he's one of the best boxers in MMA. I love his boxing. Obviously, Conor's going to try to throw his kicks in there, but man, this is going to be a stand-up war. This is going to be what you want in a fight of the night, fight of the year type. Like I said, it's going to be so different than what the first one was.
Yeah. And I think you just hit the nail on the head. Dustin has the best MMA boxing of anybody right now, point blank. And that's different from boxing.
Yeah,
but I think that's what Conor is probably going to try to implement is his. All right, hold on. We just got a comment from the boss. He said, if it doesn't go to the ground, doesn't edge go to Conor? I don't think so.
And I just said why, because Dustin arguably has the best MMA style boxing, and just exactly like Daniel said, it's totally different. Trust me, because I trained in the regular style of boxing. Your footwork is totally different. You want your foot on the outside. MMA, you want to be a little bit further back, more straight on. That way you can watch for takedowns and stuff. It's a different style of boxing. I just think Dustin's boxing is going to annoy Conor, almost similar to how Nate Diaz has that long reach and was able to kind of annoy him. Dustin's boxing, I think, has evolved so much, especially going to, all this time in American Top Team, all those killers that they have at American Top Team. You're only going to get better. Iron sharpens iron, and just the years of training that he's had there since. I mean, and he still trains at Gladiators, in Lafayette. This is still home to him. So, I mean, he's every day he's working in the gym. He's working on his game, getting it better and better. we don't know what Conor's doing every day, you know.
Really
And that's one of the things too. We know what Dustin's doing, and I think that's going to play a huge part of it. I think it may flip the other way. I think Dustin may get in Conor's head because when he can't catch him like he used to, because I don't know if Conor's going to think, oh, wow, I've ran through him before. He better not come in with that attitude, because then it's going to be an early night. Dustin is not one of those guys to come in with that attitude with, but I think he may get frustrated because he's going to think, oh, I beat him before.
I mean, you're not wrong, but I think this fight's going to be like a huge problem for Conor, because if you go back to the Dan Hooker fight, somebody who likes to use angles like Conor, he was unable to do any angles against Dustin, because Dustin turned that into a nasty, nasty brawl. I don't think that's what Conor wants. No. But however, I will speak for Conor on this. Dustin gets tagged frequently and often in like the first 2 rounds before he can get something really going, before he gets to his rhythm. That's the only thing that scares me for Dustin, because like I said, he gets hit frequent and often in those beginning rounds. I think if he survives that, I think that's going to be all Dustin. I think it's going to end up being a decision. I think first 2 rounds will go to Conor, and I think the last 3 rounds will go to Dustin. All right, everybody. Our guest is finally here. Everybody, this is Carlton Terrance. Carlton, what is up?
How y'all doing today, man?
You're doing good, man. What's up?
Carlton, what's up, buddy?
How you doing, bro?
What's up?
Oh, I saw you made weight. Congratulations. I love seeing that. Yeah. What weight are you coming in at?
I'm coming in at 174.4. I made sure I cut extra weight. I like to get a good meal in the morning time.
That's a good point, man. That's a good point. All right. So Carlton, tell us, like, how's your mind going into this fight? This is your what number amateur fight? Let the people know.
When it comes to MMA, this is my 4th official MMA fight. I got 5 under my belt, 1 kickboxing. I'm undefeated. But my mindset is the same as always. I'm just out there to prove my family right, prove my teammates right. I'm trying to go out there, win, and put a statement on my amateur career.
Yeah, man. I feel that. I've actually talked to one of your teammates today. He's going to remain anonymous. I mean, I love the guy. I see him as my jiu-jitsu mentor. He's taught me like the most valuable techniques I could possibly ever know for a big guy. So there's your hint. Big guy techniques. I'll just leave those hints to you. He said, Carlton is a good, solid guy, a true student of the game, and is very humble and hungry. He's going to for sure win an amateur title and going to have a good pro career one day. He's a great enough person to the point where he deserves to reach the pinnacle of whatever organization acquires his talents. So that's one of the people whose opinion I greatly hold in high regard. So when you're in the gym, what is your focus when you're going in? It's just like another day at the office, or what's something like you're always looking to improve about yourself?
Everything. I want to improve everything. I try to take as much from the greats as possible. I'm listening to all kind of stuff. Anything to give myself motivation. Motivational speeches while I'm working out. I feel like I don't care how good I get. I'm always gonna have to get better, especially in this game. Once you reach another level, it's always another level for you to reach.
That's right. I like that answer.
I can tell you from firsthand experience with Carlton, he's always asking questions. We're always working on drills. The drill ends, we'll always work an extra minute longer on it. He's always looking for that. His mind is always going. He's always working hard. So I can tell you from firsthand example that, he's a different breed.
Thank you, buddy.
Hey, Carl, I noticed something I've been following your Facebook for a long time now. And here's something I've noticed that separates you from every other fighter I follow on Facebook. You will post a live workout in your backyard. And you literally the only fighter that does that. Why do you do that?
It's a mental thing. Because this is like, it's not just a physical battle when you go in there. And I want them to know that I know you're watching me, and I want you to know that I'm working, and you're gonna have to outwork me. And it's not just about fighting for me. And I want them to know that, like, when you sleep, I'm working.
That's the perfect attitude that a fighter should have. You're always in that yard too, and I'm watching. I'm like, no other fighter would do that. Like fighters are really private people when it comes to their training. But your broadcast, you're like, look, this is like I'm drilling this right now, so you better come prepared for me.
Right, you haven't saw it live yet. You're just watching it slow down on video.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got a question from the boss. He said, #Ask Carlton, what's for breakfast in the morning?
Egg whites and a spinach egg omelet.
All right, I'm with you on that. I love me a good spinach omelet right there, son. All right, we got people coming in showing you all sorts of love right now, and it's much well deserved. So tell me, you're in the A-Meat gym. That's where I got my start. I was there from the old school back where it was next door to where the Boston is now. Back when it was upstairs at the little ballet studio used to be, and now it's at this new schmancy place. Y'all didn't get the old school A-Meat gym like I used to. But so what was your first experience walking into that gym and training with Kurt Holobaugh for the first time?
It was, I don't know, man. Like training with Kurt is surreal, man. That's why I feel like you're gonna have to come with it to be on my level, because training with that guy, man, it feels amazing. You just know you're getting top-notch training. It's a family environment. We got some of the best fighters coming out, like some of the best, even people you haven't heard of yet.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Especially when you train with Kurt, there's one thing you could guarantee from a Kurt Holobaugh fighter: your cardio is going to be the best in that ring that night. Yeah, because Kurt is a cardio machine.
Yes,
I've never rolled with anybody who was as fresh at the beginning of the rolls, and he's just as fresh at the end of the training session, even after the MMA session's over, right after the jiu-jitsu class. Like the dude, I've never seen him winded a day in my life. And I've been following his career since he was like a 2-0 fighter, pretty much.
Then he'll put you on that bike after class too.
Oh yeah, he will.
Exactly, challenge him. It's a challenge. Who can get the best time? It's a challenge. I still haven't beat him yet. It's a challenge.
It really is. And you also got Nunzio, who has such a sharp mind for the sport, and he's cut from like this old school MMA cloth. So you get the new school with Kurt, you get the old school with Nunzio. So I think A-Meat gym is probably the perfect gym for up and coming fighters.
And congrats to Nunzio real quick on getting his black belt. You know, that shout out to Nunzio getting his black belt. Awesome dude. You know, nobody deserves it more than him. So congrats to Nunzio on that real quick.
Right.
All right, so Carlton, who's your opponent tomorrow?
Jabril Talbot. I don't want to mispronounce his name or disrespect him, but he looks like a sharp kid. He looked real focused. Honestly, it reminds me, anytime I look in a fighter's eyes, I try to look for something, but looking in his eyes, I saw myself. He looked like he's going to be game. It's going to be a tough fight.
So you just bring your lunch pail with you in there, go to work. That's all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You go in there, you represent yourself, you represent the gym, you represent the family, your friends, everybody. And I think that's just another day at the office for you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right. So we don't want to keep you on long. We know you're hungry, you're just made weight. So we're gonna we don't want I could talk fighting with people all day, every day. I pretty much try to do it with my coworkers given the chance. All right. Oh, speaking of Nunzio, here we go. He said, "Thanks, Matt, brother. All the best to you tomorrow, Carlton. You're ready, warrior."
Thank you, Coach.
Love Nunzio. He's such a good guy.
Yep, definitely. We love you, Coach. Appreciate it.
I like getting Nunzio on the show, actually.
Yeah.
That's a good interview right there.
Yes, always fun talking to him. All right, so Carlton, before we let you go, any sponsors you want to give a shout out to?
Most definitely, man, because I wouldn't be here without them. So I made sure I wrote them down. CYP Transportation. That's one of my friends, big supporter. You can check that out at CYPtransport.com. He's hiring drivers, good pay, great pay. Also, the Crew Detail, Yacht Detail Service. Also, FOG Nutrition, Naeem Fitness, and 10 Visuals. All of those guys are good friends, and I wouldn't be here without them.
We got another question from the boss. He said, "What round you pulling it out in?" He wants to hear your prediction on the fight.
I won't disrespect my opponent and say what round, but I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to lay on him all day, and I am going to come with that heat. So if he's sleeping, I'm going to put him out early.
All right. And a question I I'm going to start asking fighter after fighter because for some reason this has always interested me in fighters is the walkout music. So do you have like something planned? Is it a surprise or is it something you always come out to? So what you got in store for us on that?
When I'm doing the walkout music, I want to capture the crowd. Sometimes I like to use it for messages. If something big's happening, like my last fight, I chose Kendrick Lamar Black Panther to give a shout out, you know, and also to show the culture that no matter where you come from, you can do whatever you put your mind to. So I like to dig deep with that. But this time I want to also use my platform to help other people in my community. So it's going to be a local artist, Plenty Profit Monster, Blackout. And I'm going to go out there, I'm going to black out and lose my mind in that cage.
Oh, don't black out. We don't want you black. I want you to
Make him black out.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, Carlton. I appreciate you coming on.
What about your shirts? Promote your shirts. Where can
my
people get those?
Team Terrance, I make the shirts, handmade shirts. I could do whatever color you want. Do a little less for teammates, but if it's support around the fights, I like to do a lower price around $15. When I don't have a fight or when my fights are getting canceled, I try to raise the price up. So about $20. But if they hit me up on Facebook, on my Instagram at KingDK101, I can hook them up.
Yeah. Oh, another question I meant to ask you: the DK nickname.
Yeah.
Do you mind going into detail about that? Because you don't have a D or a K in your name.
No, not at all. DK. If you like Super Mario Smash Brothers.
There we go. Okay, just making sure. I had a hunch. That's where you were going with. I had to double check on that.
Yeah, my two older brothers, they actually named me that because I was like quite the scrapper. I was fighting guys older than me when I was younger, and I knocked out a big guy, and they told me to remind them of that, of the Super Smash Brothers.
Yes,
so it's been all that since then.
Yeah. All right, Carlton. Super happy to have you on. We're definitely going to have you on more in the future and for a longer time. But like I said, I don't want you to keep you up. We want you to focus for your upcoming fight tomorrow night. Good luck. I wish you the best. Team GU all the way, especially the A-Meat Wrecking Crew.
Yes,
all
sir.
to you. Parting words for us?
Hey, and Carlton, I want to say I love you, brother.
I just want to say thank y'all. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to say I love you, brother. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm doing the color commentary, so I'll see you tomorrow. I just want to say, we love you and go out there and do your thing.
All right,
yes, sir. And thank y'all for having me, man. I will get y'all some shirts. I saw that comment on the screen. I will get y'all some shirts. I got y'all. Thank y'all, man, and I'll be happy to be on here anytime.
Anytime you want to come on,
we appreciate it, man. Thanks.
You get precedent, man. Like if Amy fighters, they're at the top of my mountain, man.
Yeah,
so anytime y'all want
to love it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, man.
Thank y'all.
Brother.
Thank y'all.
All right, man.
Yeah. So Matt, I got a question for you now. You train with the cat, and you're working color. How are you gonna hide your bias?
I don't know. I just try to see as little as possible. I love Carlton to death. I know him personally. I train with him a lot. Especially boxing. I work with Carlton a lot on my striking. Man, I love the dude to death. He's a good person. He's a good dude. So it's gonna be hard to hide it, but I'll do my best.
Yeah. Hey, you're a lot more professional than me. Like I would be the guy at the table. I would not keep it professional at all. I'll probably go viral with my comments like, "Oh, he just knocked him the hell out."
Yeah, it's hard to, especially when you meet good dudes like that, because Carlton is one of those good guys in MMA. It's hard to find, good guys in MMA, but man, he really is. He's a good guy. He'll help you if you need to work on something. We worked a lot together. I have a good relationship with him. Man, we love to do to death.
Yeah. Speaking of good guys, we got one of Tim Crater's men right now joining us. Welcome to the show, everybody. AJ Fletcher. AJ, what's up, my man? AJ, we can't. Let's see. We gotta get your mic working. Let's see. Everything's going all right. You got everything going good on you? Let's see. We'll get him. I promise. We're going to get him. Now, here's some stuff going on. AJ, if you can hear us, you think you can switch to like a mobile device or something? All right, we'll try that. We'll get him right back on, everybody. I promise. Yeah, we're going to get him right back on. But yeah, as I was saying, like it's going to be like I'm going to be tuning in tomorrow. It's going to be on the Fight app. If you do not have the Fight app, if you're an MMA fan or you want to know more about the sport, please get the Fight app. I've said it so many times. These smaller promotion shows, like these local shows, like this is what people tune into the UFC to watch. Like they want these knockout, drag out fights. This is what you're getting on the local shows. You're not going to get much of the boring push up against the cage. You're not get too much of the boring lay and pray wrestling. Like the local shows is where all the action is.
Oh yeah, because these guys know that's how they get to the big shows. They got to put on a performance.
They got to showcase exactly
that sense of urgency is there, and that especially I could sit cage side, doing the color commentary. That sense of urgency is there. They all want to be in the big show, and that's the thing. They all have that hunger and the desire to be there. It bleeds through.
Yeah, and you can't make it to the big show if you can't give the promoter a product to promote.
Give them what they want. That's right.
Yeah. Yep. We'll get to that comment later at the time because we had Dana White sound off on Bob Arum. Yeah. We actually have, let's see. Here he is now. All right. AJ, can you hear?
Yeah, can y'all hear me?
Oh, we got you.
Yeah, there we go. Man, sorry about that.
Oh, y'all good? All right. We got it. Hey, we got your audio. Let's see. Hello. All right. We're gonna fix you, AJ. I promise.
Okay.
We got nowhere we need to be right now.
Deal. Oh, he's repping the shirt. There we go. I'm thinking about I might be doing some new ones coming up. What's that?
Oh.
Do you have like headphones to go in your phone?
Man, I could try. I have one of these. So I have a Google phone, so I gotta have one of them little ports, and I do not know where that thing is. Man, I should have troubleshooted this before. Let's see. Let me see. Let me ask my roommate if he's got some. I'll be right back.
All right, so we'll get you right back. All right. So yeah, they're fighters. We're not like audio, technical, AV nerds. We get punched in the face for a living. While he does that, let me refill. Let me restock.
I drank all mine. I guess I don't know if I can get one of my kids to come in here and be a mixer or something.
Yeah, I had to bring the whole 6-pack in here with me because last show I ran out. I'm like, oh my God.
Everybody, we're working on the technical difficulties. Just stand by on that side. So the boss is here. We'll work on it. Let's see if he can get some headphones, and he'll. I think as soon as he gets some headphones in, there'll be the echo go.
All right, thanks, boss.
Can't wait for this interview. I love Gladiators Gym. I love Tim Crater. Tim Crater recently on his Facebook, if y'all haven't seen it yet, please go to Tim Crater's Facebook and watch him do the one chip challenge. It was so hilarious watching him try his absolute best not to curse his children for making him do that. That was one of the funniest things I've seen in a while. So Tim's a good guy. I love Tim.
Oh yeah.
Like I said,
that gym too, man. They have just killer after killer coming out of that Gladiators Academy gym. The Lafayette location, the Crowley location, they just killers.
Oh, you got called out.
Uh-oh.
Well,
no more whiskey.
That's the boss right there.
I didn't know she was watching.
Well, she supports you. All right, so while we wait on AJ, let's go ahead and go into our UFC 255 preview. So,
All right, let's do it.
all right, so kicking off the event, we got the legend from Pride, one of my favorite fighters of all time, Shogun Rua, fighting Paul Craig. So these two cats have fought before, and they actually fought on a draw after Paul Craig took the fight on short notice after Mauricio was supposed to fight Sam Alvey. That was a fight I was tremendously looking forward to. So who do you got in this one, Shogun or Paul Craig?
Oh, man, I love Shogun, but I think I'm going to go with Paul Craig on this one. I mean, he looked really good in his last bout after that where he got the first round submission. Shogun got a split decision in his bout after that. So I'm going to go with Paul Craig, but man, Shogun is a legend. I still love him, but I just think, Paul Craig, he's got the he's a little bit younger, 12 of his 13 wins are by submission. This guy's amazing out of the guard position. I think he's going to be able to do what he needs to do to get the win.
Yeah. All right. AJ's back. Let's see him. All right, AJ, you there?
Take three.
Take
three.
We
got it.
We got him.
There we go. Finally.
We got him.
Third time's the charm. We got it.
No echo or anything? We're all good?
We're all good, man.
We are good.
Sweet.
All right, AJ. So tell us, you just fought recently, and then you pulled Matt off to the side and said, "Yeah, get me on." So now that you're on, what you got going on?
Man, to be honest, that's a really good question. The way everything is right now, everything's kind of up in the air. I know there's some organizations doing shows. I know there's some kind of regional promotions getting some shows off and stuff. So I'm just kind of staying ready, and we're gonna we're scanning the waters, kind of seeing what's out there, and then of course always just staying ready for a call from the big leagues. And we'll just kind of take these next couple months day by day and hopefully get a fight in, whether it be there or whether it be, another show around here, just kind of staying ready, taking it day by day.
Yeah. AJ, I got a confession to make. I saw you a long time ago back in 2017, but
wow.
I saw you fight. It broke my heart because you beat one of my boys, Jacob Small. So
oh man, yeah.
It's all good though. It is what it is. That's the nature of the beast. Congratulations on that. But so I'm looking at your records right now. When you come out, you're a typical Gladiator gym fighter. You go out there and you get the job done. You get the finish.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's kind of how if anybody knows Tim Crater, that's how he breeds us over here. There's no room for weakness, and there's no room for just trying to point fight. If we're going out there, we're trying to more or less kill between the belts, and I take pride in that, and I know that's something that he really tries to instill in us, and it shows.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that in one of his I want to say proteges is Dustin Poirier. Like we see that in him since day one. So, and I see a lot of that in you too. So you're like a little welterweight. I wouldn't say you're a little welterweight because you're a bigger weight than he is, but I can see a lot of Dustin's game in you. So would you say that's an accurate assessment?
Well, man, first off, I appreciate the comparison. I don't know if I'm quite there yet, but I do. I certainly take a lot of inspiration from Dustin, and I certainly, I would be stupid not to pick up on a lot of the tricks and a lot of the moves and a lot of the mindset, a lot of those things that he's got. It's good having that wealth of knowledge around me and being able to pick up little tips and tricks here and there and incorporate his game into my game a little bit. I definitely take inspiration from him.
Well, I don't blame you. If I were within 10 feet of him, I would absorb everything he's throwing out there like a sponge. So that's awesome for you to be associated with that. Especially also be with Tim, because Tim, he's a Louisiana MMA legend. Like he helped Louisiana get to where it is right now, and he's still like hammering away at this iceberg to like get in the center of and say, hey, this is what this state's really capable of in MMA.
Yeah, man, he's a pioneer. It's I like to think this sport kind of goes in waves. You have, especially like you see it at like some of the bigger gyms where you have, guys who really make that first push and become champions and really challenge at that highest level. Man, Tim was the first guy that did that. And then instead of, staying across the country and developing his skills there. The guy came back and started nurturing an MMA culture here that we can see today is just thriving now. And Dustin was, the torchbearer kind of after Tim that kept that flame going. And, I think we've got a good wave of guys that are, going to keep that going hopefully for a long time.
Yeah. And you said about him traveling the world to train. He posted a photo a while back of him at during his time in Brazil, and I just had to laugh because he was training with Marlon Bustamante, who's like a hero of mine. That dude's a beast in himself. But it was so funny seeing like all these tan jack Brazilians, and then you got Tim, who's pretty pale compared to them. He stuck out.
Oh yeah, dude. Don't let him fool you. He was the ghost before me, bro. If you look at that picture, anybody go on Tim's Facebook, look at that picture, and you'll understand what we're talking about. Dude is pasty white, and I can relate. I think we all can, but I loved him to death. Like I was a huge fan of his. Like when he went on the Ultimate Fighter, and he won his yes, and like I was a teenager. I was like 19 when he went on the Ultimate Fighter, and he won that tournament to get in the house. It was the first time they had the tournament to get in the house. He won his fight, and like I straight up ugly cried like a woman watching Titanic. That was me. So like I'm heavily invested in all Louisiana fighters. So huge shout out to Tim Crater for that. Absolutely, man. He's a real one.
Yeah. I think you're so close to getting to that next step in the promotion. Now, obviously, everybody wants the UFC. Everybody that's the creme de la creme of the promotions. But if a PFL or a Bellator comes knocking on your door, are you answering?
Man, I definitely like those organizations, and they all have. So that's the thing; they all have their own kind of advantages and disadvantages, right? So I won't go too much into the advantage and disadvantage, but one thing with PFL, right, is the whole $1 million payout at the end.
Exactly, that's a good tournament.
The guaranteed fights along the way too, and then Bellator actually offers a little bit more money for their entering, like the contract that you enter into their first one than the UFC does. So it's a little bit interesting thing there. But man, in terms of the highest mountain, I guess you could climb, I think there's, at least today, the other ones are good and everything, but I think the highest mountain you could climb would be the UFC right now, and that's
the legacy promotion. Like, right, where you want to go cement your legacy, you got to go there.
Right. And you see guys that, a lot of guys, I'm not leaving this off the table or anything. Like you see guys that go and start their career, like Michael Chandler, for example, exactly. Bellator pet for a long time, makes his name at Bellator. And now when he comes to the UFC, he's already at the top of the food chain. He's not having to do these fights, and start grinding his way up the list. So that is an option. But I think right now, just talking with my coaches and talking with, my management, I think we're really kind of looking for that UFC shot.
I don't blame you. Another prime example, that would be Justin Gaethje in his WSOF days.
Yeah, absolutely. He was killing them, dude. Champion there for a long time.
He's still killing people. His losses weren't exactly embarrassing losses.
No, man, they're versus killers, and they were wars, every single one. You've never seen a boring Justin Gaethje fight.
Yeah. So you say you don't have a fight coming up. That's correct, right?
Right. I mean, we're actively looking, but nothing on the books for sure.
All right. So anything else you got you want to talk about?
I'm trying to think.
Hey, it's Blake from Are You Serious Sports. Because I run a big podcast. Okay, I know you can't see my ugly face. I'm a dirty looking Italian sometimes at night. Okay,
that's the boss.
All right. I have a question because look, I have a couple thousand people, 2,000-3,000 people that watch our show at night, and they always have the one question when it comes to local MMA fighting is this: for you, when you go out there and you fight, because Louisiana has such a big culture, right? A big tight knit culture. Do you feel that weight going in there? Because I know that Dustin's talked about that at some, like after Hurricane Laura. Hey, like I'm going to go out here and fight and beat the shit out of Conor McGregor because my area got destroyed, right? Do you feel that weight when you go in there, or is it something that you're just like one track mind focused? You're worried about your opponent and you. I mean, take us through that cage. Like, how much weight is on you, regardless of what's going around when you step in that octagon?
So I guess there's kind of two parts of it, right? So you really, at least for me, you really feel whether it be pressure, whether it be the weight of a situation, whether it be what you're talking about, where there's like some sort of external circumstance where, a lot of people are just looking for some sort of outlet or some sort of hope, some sort of fighting spirit, that all kind of weighs in, but it weighs into a certain point, maybe up to like fight week. And you understand, at least for me, like these things are opportunities, right? They're not like, this pressure is not like, I said in my interview with you, Matt, or my few questions the other day, that I would rather fight in a situation that has pressure, that has some circumstance around it. And I think like, situations like that is especially like, emergency situations like hurricanes or, just anything going on in the world, like it adds to that a little bit. You feel that in the fight for sure going up to it. But there's also this point where everything kind of like switches off. Like it's hard to explain, but like I know none of that really matters once I step into a cage. It's the most pure kind of form of nothing else matters except exactly what's in front of you. So knowing that and being in there, like I've had 16 fights now going on. So I've had I'm a relatively new professional, but I've had a decent bit of experience. And once you kind of gear into making that walk and you're backstage and everything kind of, if you're good at kind of getting into that zone, all that kind of just goes away. And it comes down to just like the pure raw sport of just you fighting another human being. It's like, and there's, nothing outside of the cage can impact anything inside of the cage at that point, barring, maybe weather or something if it's going on outside, but that's about it. So
I think AJ, that's the biggest thing that I get the question, because we do a big football podcast, right? So everyone's coming here and talking podcasts. So for example, a hurricane goes through New Orleans. Oh, well, the Saints are playing in the middle of a hurricane or a couple days after. Well, it's different because they have 16 other games in 16 other weeks. You go in there and, I mean, with all due respect, it's either you beat his brains in or he beats your brains in, right? So that's where people don't really understand from a fighting aspect, from people who will come back and watch the video for, my fans who will say, well, shit, what AJ, take us through that. And just to add on to that, one last question, I'll let these guys get into it. When you're in there, and we've had fans ask this question, when you're in there, you have a game plan, right? So like when I watched your last fight, it was very short. Okay, I bought it. Okay, so what? And you you took the guy down. You submitted him or whatever. Okay, best $15 I've ever spent in my life. Anyway, when you get in there and you go into a game plan and things don't work well, but for you might not have that problem. Do you just kind of go to your experience or what? Because we've had we've had fighters on here like, well, my game plan's always worked. So maybe if you've ever had that experience, bring us through that. And if you haven't, fantastic, which I'm sure you have.
No, I 100% have had that experience, and to kind of piggyback off your last question, that's where kind of like those reasons or those circumstances outside of the fight can, if they're positive, kind of creep in a little bit. Like you're getting worked on the ground or something. You're trying to find a little something extra to get you moving again, to try to get you scrambling, get you going on top. That's when you would be surprised how so. Time doesn't slow down when you're in a fight, but your brain sends signals that are so much faster. So it's like you have like a million thoughts in every single like minute, I guess, or whatever time frame. But you have all these time to think about. Sometimes these things from the outside do creep in a little bit, right? And if there's a circumstance where, we're like after Hurricane Katrina and the Saints, they're going out there playing the Falcons, and you get the infamous Gleason block punt and everything. Like I'm sure that was in there somewhere in his mind where he's like, I've got to go as hard as I can this play and try to make some sort of impact. That's where those things can creep in when that game plan doesn't quite go quite to plan. You've got to pull something out of something deeper than just a game plan. That's when you start, showing your heart a little bit and showing why you fight and showing how deep you're willing to go. So I've definitely had those situations, and don't get me wrong. Like if you look at my nose right now, I've paid for them, but you come out a different person and you really find out who you are. And once you've done that, you have that in your back pocket, and it gives you a different confidence going into fights from then on out, if that makes sense.
Oh,
it does. And the reason I ask you is because obviously on my podcast, you from a fighting local perspective have been number one. I'm not just saying this shit because you're on here. It's just the truth. And people always ask these questions. So now when I go on the podcast, I'm like, hey, you see AJ Fletcher just knocked that dude out? I'm going to be like, yeah, I talked to him last week. What you talking about, fool? What you talking about, sucker? Anyway, all right, I'm out. I'm going to let the guys go. But thanks, AJ. I appreciate that, man.
Good meeting you, boss. Thank you.
AJ, I hate to segue a little bit.
The boss said he was going to take the week off, and then he jumps right on.
Oh man, he can't.
First off, we were having audio issues. I wanted to make sure that everything was going well. Okay, but you know what? I'm out. I'm done. I'm done.
All right,
It's with my wife. I'm done.
All right. I want you to stay on for this one because I got a question for AJ you might like. AJ, you seem like a football guy, and you're from the Lafayette area. What are your thoughts on ULL having a better record than LSU right now?
Next question.
I don't think boss likes that one.
No, not at all. We're LSU guys over here, but I had to get that one in.
I graduated from UL, so I love that question.
Matt, you're fired.
Okay, the UL right there. There it is.
Let's go. Let's go.
Hey, look, I got it right here. Check this out. Bam,
boy, there it is.
Bam.
Mine's on the wall of the living room.
Oh man, I had to dig that out a little bit. I got it buried underneath.
That's good stuff. But all right, AJ, before you came on, we were talking about another Gladiator alumni, Dustin Poirier. The fight with Conor is official. We gave our picks, and I said it's probably going to go to a decision in Dustin's favor. And Matt, you didn't give your official prediction yet.
What you think?
I think Dustin's going to get him in 3.
You say 3. All right, AJ, what do you say?
I think that's pretty. I think that's a pretty good prediction. I don't know if it's 3. I could see 3. 3's a pretty good bet. Dude, Dustin's got some pop, man, and I think that fight at 55 is a lot different than that fight at 45 when it used to take place.
That's what we're saying.
Go ahead.
Also, we also factor in that Conor's been fighting at 170. He's gone from the 155 and he's jumped up to 170. So can he come back to 155? And everybody say, well, he's gotten world-class boxing training when he was preparing for Floyd. We also made up the point that MMA boxing and boxing are 2 different animals. And when it comes to MMA boxing, I don't see anybody in the sport that's better than Dustin.
No, man. Dustin closes. So you're absolutely right about that. So the difference between, in my opinion, the difference between boxing and MMA is that range kind of game, right? With the big gloves and stuff, I can kind of afford to stay in tight a little bit and, eat some off the hands and do a little head work and stuff. But with MMA, dude, you get those little gloves, those creases between your hand and your head.
It's so much easier to sport the guard on that too.
Exactly. So it kind of goes into a little bit more of a range game, right? And I think Dustin has a very good way of getting inside of that range and negating that range that Conor's notoriously been good for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Or been good at.
Like I was telling Matt, and a good example of that was when Dustin fought Dan Hooker. Like Dan Hooker, he likes to be range. He likes to cut angles, a lot like Conor. But Dustin was like, nope, no angles, no distance for you. We're going to turn this into an absolute dogfight. We're fighting in this phone booth, whether you like it or not.
Exactly. And then, so once it's in that phone booth, right, if we assume it gets there, who do you think's got the advantage on the ground?
Dustin, 100%.
Exactly. So I think that's, for those reasons, I think it's either, I can't determine if it's, I think if it's going to be, a TKO finish or knockout or whatever, or a sub, because Conor, if you look back at Nate, Conor likes to shoot when those hands start getting on him. And Dustin, likes to jump the ghillie. So,
and Dustin has a nasty guillotine. Nasty.
I know. From anywhere, dude. From anywhere.
Like this close to getting Khabib in that same guillotine. Like as soon as he had it in, like I was jumping up and down. I was screaming. I was hollering. Like he's got it. Oh my God, he did it. And then Khabib barely slipped out. Broke my heart. So yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to get in that close range. I think Dustin's going to turn into an ugly fight. But to Conor's credit, though, I've noticed in almost every Dustin fight, he does get tagged early. He gets tagged often. And because of that, I think that it's going to wear on Dustin in those first 2 rounds. But I see Dustin rallying towards the end of the second and getting his bearings back. And I think he's going to just run the table with Conor.
Sure. So look, I'll drop a little biology on you real quick. So
let's do it.
How rams the animal, how they always headbutt each other with their horns and stuff?
Yeah.
Right. So do you know why they don't get concussions and why they don't have head trauma?
No.
So they have this certain thing that for whatever reason, before they do that, they have this certain thing that fills blood around their head more so whenever they're about to do this than whenever it's normal. And applying that, so it doesn't sound like much whenever you're talking about fighting, right? But take that to fighting. Now so 145 versus 155. You have a lot more blood or a lot more water in your bloodstream going. That's why you see a lot of guys that when they take fights that are one or above their weight class, they take shots a lot better. These little glancing shots, like maybe right behind the ear just a little bit, or maybe a little bit high on the face. They're not putting people out whenever they're fighting a little bit above their weight class, not cutting quite as much weight. They're taking those shots a little bit better. And that's another thing I kind of think. So I know Conor's got some pop, but I also think Dustin takes these shots a lot better at 140 or at 155 as opposed to 145. Kind of going back to the whole biology little aspect of it, I guess.
Hey, that's actually a very good point I have never really thought about.
There you go.
There is a correlation between the guys who make the big cuts and having a quote-unquote a weak chin. Like that's a serious correlation there.
Absolutely. And dude, I'll say this just from personal experience. So whenever I fought I think it was my last loss versus Jalen Hill. Sorry about that. Versus Jalen Hill. Whenever I cut down to 55, I remember he shot a single leg on me and we ended up on the cage and he had great head position. He put his head right here on my chin. And as soon as we got to the cage, just from his head being on my chin from a takedown, my head felt a little like foggy in a second. And dude, I'm telling you, since being at 170, I can eat some shots now. I don't like to, it's definitely not my favorite meal, but,
Yeah. We're never going to see you go back down to lightweight, Wilder, just based off of that.
So I don't know. I say that in one aspect. And then now, so it's weird. My body right now sits right around what I was cutting down or what I was at when I was cutting down to 55, if not a little bit less. So I don't know if that bump up to 70 for a little bit is like balanced out some hormones or what's going on with that. But if I had, I've said this in the past, if I had people like at the UFC PI, people with that have the scanners, that have the, that have the ability to scan your bones, the amount of water, the amount of fat, the amount of muscles in your body, and they told me I could do it safely in a way that I could replenish myself, back to normal, or maybe not normal, but enough, then yeah, I would think about it. But other than that, 170 feels real good, man.
You look pretty comfortable from what I've seen. You look like you're just like a kid going to a playground when you step in that thing. Like that is your atmosphere.
It really is.
I'm not saying that because we're interviewing, we're talking face to face. Like when I saw your fight against Christopher Anthony, I'm thinking like this guy just looks like this is his area. I mean, like most guys we see, they're so zoned in, like they're just not. What's the word? Like the phrase I'm looking for? They're just
enjoying it.
Yeah, like they're not enjoying themselves.
Yeah, no, that's something I've had to learn definitely over my career, and I really kind of figured out towards the end of my amateur career. Man, if you're going out there and you're not having fun, like you got to kind of think about something. That either means, in the back of your head, you haven't done everything you need to prepare, or you maybe, need to kind of maybe not fight for a little bit, or you know what I mean? Like you've got to have fun when you're going out there. Now I understand there's nerves and all that, but at the end of the day, like whatever happens out there, like the good part of living this life definitely is the fighting and all that, but it's in the day-to-day that we get to live. I get to go to the gym with, some of my best friends and beat each other up and laugh and teach kids and all this stuff. And at the end of the day, a fight's a fight. And I go in there more than, knowing I've prepared myself more than probably I should in some cases, but it gives you that freedom to go in there and enjoy yourself. And I just try to make sure that I'm in the moment and, really take it in and make the most of it, I guess.
And that's exactly what I saw. Like you just looked happy to be there. Like we don't see that very much with fighters these days. Like it's always mean mud, blah, 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 whatever. Like you just looked out like you were going to have a good old time. Like you were going to your best friend's house to play with like lightsabers or something like that.
Well, I hope it doesn't quite look that friendly, but
it didn't look that friendly. But you know what I mean? Like you just look like you were just going out there. Like,
AJ, let me ask you this question: Were you that confident because you knew that you were going to win? Like seriously, because I'm with Daniel. When I saw you, especially all the stuff that was being shown, it looked like I was like, "Damn, this dude ain't gonna lose, bro." Like I'm being serious. Like, you see that in fighters. Did you go out knowing like you were about to win? Because when the fight started, and I'm like, bro, this dude's about to destroy. No bad thing to your opponent, but I was like, man, he's about to destroy this dude. Were you that confident going into that fight?
So I'm always confident that I've done enough to get the win, or that I'll be in there to get the win, and I'm really going after it and all that. But at the end of the day, this sounds weird to say, but I'm not really concerned about it, and I'll say why. Like, I know I need the wins to get my career and progress my career and all that, but will y'all agree that in some of like the best wars in the UFC, Paul Felder and RDA last weekend, for example, out of that, Paul Felder gets a new contract. He's the main event. He gets massive amounts of exposure. He progresses himself, even with a loss. So I'm definitely going for the win all the time. But at the end of the day, I'm just going out there trying to show what I show in the training room every day. I'm just trying to show like this is gonna sound, woo woo and all. Oh, he's a martial artist and all that. But I really am trying to go out there and show my art. I'm trying to go show what I practice every day, what strokes I'm using every day, how I paint my picture, and whatever canvas comes is gonna be painted, how it wants to be painted. I just, that's fun for me. I don't know. It's weird to describe, I guess, to people who don't do it, but like it's yeah, I don't know how to say that.
Yeah, I get you. All right, AJ, I got a question though. Besides the obvious Dustin Poirier, is there any other fighter that you're looking up to right now? Like, man, this is who I want to be right now.
Man, Dustin's definitely up there, dude. I like what he does inside the cage, and I like what he does outside.
Yes, with his charity and everything. But I took Dustin out of the question. I wanted to make this hard for you.
I know. Let's see. So are we talking in terms of style or in terms of like
just style?
Okay, dude, it's hard to not like Izzy. There's a dude also too. I like watching smooth strikers. So there's a guy in Muay Thai. His name's Lurdzilla. I don't know if you've ever
Lurdzilla.
You've got.
If you told me like his real name, I'd probably recognize it because I've been watching a lot of Glory kickboxing. I'm watching a lot of Muay Thai stuff as of late, especially with the lockdown that's happened. So been watching a lot. So anyways, go on.
So what? No, that's all good. But he was saying, so he's Lurdzilla. He's a dude he trains with Sanchai, who's like a Muay Thai legend.
Sanchai, I know Sanchai very well.
But he's like the next I don't want to say the next progression because Sanchai's a legend, but he's like the next in line, I guess. And if you watch him, they call him the eel. He's so smooth with like, he'll throw like these spinning attacks and then just like do crazy head movement. And I like watching those kind of people, that really smooth strikers. And then also just like watching in terms of like somebody on the ground, somebody like Khabib, who's just dominant. No matter where you go, it feels like you're moving in quicksand, and it feels like everything you do, he's got an answer to. And all the while you're moving in quicksand, you're getting pounded in the face with a jackhammer. Like, those are, I don't know. I like the smooth strikers and just the dominating grapplers, I guess.
Okay, well, in your area, where do you prefer to work on when you're in that cage? You want to showcase your striking, or would you rather showcase your grappling?
It depends, right? So kind of going back to that whole canvas thing, however that canvas wants to be painted. Versus James, we kind of had a feeling that I would have an advantage on the ground. So I was going to take him there, make him work a little bit. And, we had 5 rounds to work. So I was going to wear him out for, 2 to 3 rounds. And, once I got him there, I kind of felt that I could, start working some submissions and stuff. But it really depends. Like, so for example, versus Dan Street, we knew Dan was a grappler guy, so I wanted to stay on the feet a little bit more. And that's the thing. I pride myself in being able to do whatever it needs to be done. Like wherever, I don't want to say where the weakness of my opponent is at, but I pride myself in being able to exploit all those avenues of possibly winning and kind of going down those different roads and wherever they're open.
So in a training camp, is it more so just working on you, or is it more so looking at your opponent's weaknesses as far as, hey, let me work on this?
So it's kind of like this. It's always, to answer your question, it's always on me. I'm always focused on like just refining my technique, working on techniques that are good for me, good for my body style. I'm never going to go and just try to completely change my game or invest everything I have into one move or one combination or one, anything like that. but there is definitely an understanding. Like I watch film on all my opponents. I don't think this is a big surprise, and I definitely have in my head nothing in MMA is 100%, but there's definitely if you look at it from opponent to opponent, certain moves have different percentages, right? That they would land. So as you kind of do the little math in your head, like, okay, this move is more high percentage in this case. This move is more high percentage in this case. And then you start getting an idea of, okay, is it more high percentage on the ground? Is it more high percentage in the feet? Is it more high percentage early in the fight? Is it more high percentage late in the fight? There's all these things kind of go into that. And it's not necessarily like fine tuning and going only into that, but it's working throughout the training camp with that kind of in mind as a framework, I guess.
I feel you on that. And you say you work with the kids a lot. And here's something that this is just a little question I wonder every time somebody mentions working with kids in the martial arts setting. A few years ago, I wouldn't say a few years ago, maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, I was at a grappling tournament. I'm sitting here, I'm in my zone, trying to prepare myself for my upcoming match. And you got the little kids grappling and everything. Have you ever ran into the martial arts parent? Like that soccer mom who yells at the kid, break his arm, break his fucking arm. Because that happened right there, and it threw me completely off my game. Actually, I think Tim was there when that happened.
He wasn't the one screaming it now, huh?
No, it wasn't him. This was like the typical Karen that you see in all these Facebook videos, had the Karen haircut and everything. They had the ref had to stop the fight and tell him, I'm like, you need to chill. These are just kids. Have you ran into that?
So no. So most of the people that come into Gladiators, from what I've experienced, are there for, especially with kids, are there for the unseen aspects of martial arts, right? A lot of the people that bring their kids there, they're wanting them to learn discipline. They're wanting them to learn respect. They're wanting to learn, all these traits that go along with martial arts. And I actually haven't coached a competition just yet, but all the kids kind of get that aspect too. Tim and Josh do a great job whenever they start off with jiu-jitsu, and then as they kind of become more advanced students, they're able to move on with MMA and stuff like that. But no, everybody I've seen and all the parents are all very very into just the martial arts aspect, I guess.
I guess it's just a Florida Parish's mom kind of thing. Cause like that mom looked like she was ready to go out there and do her thing. I was like seriously, I had my little headphones in, like I softly listened to the music just so I could still feel the atmosphere. All of a sudden I hear, break his arm, break his fucking arm. And just like the ref just like, hold on, y'all stop. He's like went up to the mom and like, just chill, lady. This is just kids learning.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hey, now look, I would, but my mom. I know my mom is. I'm sure she probably feels like she wants to jump in the ring from time to time. So I could see that. I could see that from that side.
Yeah, I got a 2-year-old son who already loves to fight. So that's probably going to be my wife pretty soon.
Oh man.
Yeah, absolutely. So AJ, I got a question though. You watching the UFC 255?
I am. That's tomorrow night, right?
Yes, it actually is. We're breaking it down before you got on. We're talking about Shogun Rua versus Paul Craig. We both got Paul Craig. Who you like in that one?
Man, I don't know too much about Paul Craig, to be honest. Give me a little synopsis on him. Give me a little.
All right, Paul Craig, Scottish-born, bearded fella. I'm sure you've seen him before. Like he has like a very Scottish look to him. But anyway,
12 of his 13 wins are by submission.
Yeah. I think Scottish fighters, I don't think grappling. So he's a little anomaly. But actually, him and Shogun have actually fought to a draw after Paul Craig has stepped in on short notice when Shogun was supposed to fight, what's his nuts? Sam Alvey.
Okay, yeah.
So you don't know much about Paul Craig, so we'll just skip that fight. What fight on this card are you looking forward to?
I know Alan Choban's fighting tomorrow.
Yes, he is. Local boy.
Yes. Yep. Looking forward to him. Who's it, dude? I feel so bad. I feel like there's so many. It sounds bad. There's so many UFC fights now. It's so hard to like keep up with every single one. I guess I watch them, on replay and stuff, but sometimes I lag behind a little bit.
But hey, no fault of your own. Like I'm still looking. Like I was looking at the cards, like who the hell is this guy? Like I never heard of this dude. But and that's coming from Dana White recently said this is the largest UFC roster he's had ever. Yeah. So I'm not surprised by that.
Yep, just need to make it one spot bigger, Dana. That's it. Just one
it.
spot.
If you're looking for a pasty welterweight, we've got the fighter for you.
I know him, and look, I know there's a January 23rd card coming up with the Lafayette boy. I'm just saying. I know somebody.
He loves putting fighters from the same gym on the cards with each other. He loves to do that. That's him and Sean Shelby both. But Alan Jubin, he's actually the favorite in this fight. He's fighting what's that guy's name? Oh, Jared Gooden. That's who he's fighting. Jubin is the favorite in this fight. I hope he pulls it out. I'm a huge fan of Jubin, just like any other Louisiana fighter. But we also got recently the fight that's making the headlines today is Tim Means versus Mike Perry, because Mike Perry missed weight by 7.5 pounds.
Did he really?
Yeah, not only did he miss it by 7.5 pounds, like as soon as he got off the scale, he just he celebrated. So yeah, that was just like the most unprofessional thing I've seen coming from him. And that's saying a lot, because he is the unprofessional fighter. I'm not saying that's like a bad thing for him. That's like his whole gimmick is unprofessionalism.
Yeah, I guess so. And that's Mike. That's not. I don't know, Mike, but Mike, that's not going to help with the whole tax situation with that last interview, man. That's just going to be another, 20-30%. That's not going to. Oh man, but I don't know.
Yeah, Mike Perry is his own worst enemy. I feel like.
Yeah.
We all know somebody like Mike Perry when we all were in high school. That's the thing. Like everybody knows a Mike Perry.
Yeah, I can see that.
All right, but in our main event, we got Alex Perez versus Davison Figueiredo. Like, I'm a huge Davison fan after he just straight up beat the dog shit out of Joe B. So he got in this one.
Yeah.
Dude, I was watching it. So this one I did watch a little bit on. Perez has some hands, dude, and he's got good, flurrying hands. Figueiredo is I don't want to say a one-punch kind of guy, but he's definitely he sits down on his shots, right? He's throwing that hard cross versus Benavidez. He's
it's like a bear trap almost.
Yeah, he stalks you down, pop, and then, that's it. But Perez is from what I saw, a very explosive guy who seems to have some pretty good wrestling too. He comes from a good camp. Figueiredo is always a tough matchup, but I would not be surprised if Perez pulls this off. I think it'll be a good scrap.
I mean, Perez is the underdog. He's plus 215. So if you're a betting man, I'd say go throw the money on.
I don't know about that, man. I might have to sell a few things.
But the co-main event, I don't even know why they made this matchup. This is such a mismatch. It's Shevchenko versus Jennifer Maia.
You think so?
Oh my God, that's such a huge mismatch. I think I'm looking at the odd, the line right now. Shevchenko's minus 1,500.
Yeah, I think it's because Maya submitted JoJo. I think that's the only reason she got this bout, because I think it was Calderwood's, and I think because Maya.
You're exactly right. I remember that now.
I think that's why she ended up taking it from her.
Yeah, I was going to try to play devil's advocate a little bit, but I think it really is hard to kind of choose against Valentina, man. Everything starts on the feet, Shevchenko manages that range, and she's fun to watch.
And I even wrote it down. Aside from the Nunez losses, she hasn't lost since 2010.
Really? Man.
So, yeah. And that was at the higher weight classes. At flyweight, nobody's touched her. Yeah. So I think this is she's found her niche, and I don't think there's nobody on the roster that can touch her right now at that weight class.
Yeah. So, all right, AJ, before we let you go, you got any sponsors you want to shout out?
Absolutely. So Elephant Realty and the House in Tigerland. So these guys really helped me. So if y'all didn't see
the House in Tigerland.
Yes,
oh
indeed,
my goodness. I didn't even know they're sponsoring fighters. That's so damn cool.
So Jeff, the owner, Jeff, I grew up with Jeff. I've been going to school with him, known him best friends with him since kindergarten, dude. And I actually worked at the house before he even worked there, and then he ended up owning it. But me and House go way back, dude. And then Elephant Realty, another one of my lifelong buddies. They came in clutch, and they helped me get out to go out to California this past training camp and get a few weeks out there with Max Griffin, and I got to go to Alpha Male and stuff like that. So they really helped me out, and I really appreciate it. That was an invaluable experience and one I'll remember for the rest of my life. And it's great to have them in my corner. It really
I'm
is.
not going to lie to you. Just by saying that you're sponsored by the house in Tigerland, like just saying that, hey, I'm sponsored by a bar in Tigerland, your fan base is going to grow tremendously just based off of that.
Yeah, hey, look, they're renovating downstairs right now, and then, well, I don't know if I should say the next part. I think it's public knowledge though, but I'll hold on to the next part. But they're doing renovation.
Don't want to get you in trouble.
Yeah, right. They're doing renovations right now, and dude, it's gonna be insane once they're done. It's gonna look incredible.
Hey, I saw that your dad posted. How's he doing? I know he had some procedures here lately. How's he doing?
Yeah, he's doing. I actually talked with him a little bit earlier today. He's doing well. He had a 5-level laminectomy. So they took out. I could be messing up the operation procedure here, but I think they took out 5 of his posterior vertebrae, because they were kind of just through years of powerlifting and all that, and kind of weightlifting, football, years of wear and tear. They kind of got worn down a little bit, but man, he was up walking the day after surgery. He's walking around now, and I think they're awesome. Yeah, man, I think they're gonna keep him another day or two, and then
we're friends on Facebook, so I just wanted to ask you how he's doing, man.
Yeah, man, doing good.
Good, awesome.
Good. Glad to hear that. So, any more sponsors? I cut you off about.
All good, dude. That's about it. Thank you all for having me, man. This was fun.
All right, so hey, anytime you ever want to come on, just let us know. We'll make a spot for you.
Definitely.
Love to
have you back on. We appreciate it.
So thank you for joining the club, AJ. Come again.
Have a good one.
All right, you too.
Thanks, buddy. We appreciate it.
What a good interview that was. That was fun. I like AJ. Can't wait to see him again. Like I said, he broke my heart a long time ago when he fought my boy Jacob Small. So that was a little heartbreaking, but nothing gets. That's the sport for you. So
love AJ.
So I wrote a letter recently to John Jones that I would love to read to everybody.
Oh, let's hear.
Hold on. Let me get my own. So here we go.
Let's hear.
All right. So John Jones made the news recently, the MMA news recently, with his little spat with local MMA legend Daniel Cormier. So I'm just gonna sit here and I wrote John a letter. I'll mail it to him one of these days.
Give it to me. Let's go.
Dear John, recently Daniel Cormier said that you, quote unquote, can't be the GOAT because failed drug tests eliminate you from the conversation. Didn't you say that a while back?
I did say that.
All right. So
I did.
As a result of his comments, you went to the Twitter machine and had this to say. DC, you lost your last fight and then quit the sport. Crying, laughing emoji. Talk about being eliminated from the conversation. Silly face emoji. People will remember I was accused of steroids. They will also remember that I was proven innocent and able to continue with my career. #facts. With USADA, you are guilty until proven innocent unless you are the GOAT. When you've been winning this damn long, you remain guilty. It helps people sleep at night. Dearest John, I have came on this show and actually ranked you as my number 3 GOAT. But let's be honest, that is the most generous ranking someone in the media could ever give you. That is your absolute peak. When you openly admit to hiding under the cage for weed, which your boss and number 1 fan Dana White later insinuated was bullshit as USADA doesn't even test for that, you lost any benefit of the doubt that you may have had. Even after the dumbest game of hide and seek in the history of all sports, the commission and your bosses were so unable to prove your innocence that they just decided that you were innocent. Where I lost my spot. Hold on. I had this all rehearsed in my head, but I've been drinking. You know how it goes. All right.
A little bit.
They have given you a pulsing golden ticket for the rest of your career by saying your levels will always be a little elevated. Moreover, even after you popped, the UFC moved your next fight out of Vegas because they couldn't even get you licensed. And instead of keeping your mouth shut about that, you decided to piss off all the fans in Vegas by saying they moved your fight out of Vegas for the fans. And let's get back to what you said when you said people will remember I was accused of steroids. They will also remember that I was proven innocent and continue with my career. Let's correct that, John. People will remember that you were busted for steroids. They will also remember that you turned into a USADA snitch and they gave you a shorter punishment because you started snitching on your fellow fighter. Another thing you people will remember is that your results had you at a testosterone levels of a 90-year-old man. And that is true. You could Google this. And anyone who is capable of using Google can easily learn that the only reason your test levels would ever be that low is if you were injecting something that shut your testosterone down to begin with. Steroids. So, my dearest John, please check your fragile ego and please know that you will always have this pulsating cloud over your head. And please never proclaim your innocence from PED use. The world knows what you did. We even saw your performances after you got busted. If you're going to piss hot all over our heads, please do us a favor and don't tell us it's raining. You're number 3, and you'll never be a true GOAT. Sincerely yours, Daniel Dees. P.S. The other reason you'll never be the GOAT is because you're an unapologetic, habitual eye poker. So that was my letter to John Jones. So the fact that he had to get on there and just keep the fact that we know John is serious when he says that he is innocent of any PED use, even after his brothers in the NFL have popped for the same thing he's popped for. So I don't know what he was thinking there. Oh, Lordy. All right, so what else we got on the menu? Let's see. Dana White and Bob Arum have made the news.
Yeah.
Had to laugh at this one. All right, so what happened was after Bud Crawford just beat the absolute piss out of Kell Brook. Well, I say that. I actually had Kell Brook up on my card just by technicality. I mean, was it really that one-sided in Kell Brook? No, not at all. But Bud Crawford just knocked the shit out of him, and that was that. But after that, Bob Arum complained that Bud isn't exactly a superstar that he hoped for. I mean, Bob, what the hell? You got one of the most dynamic fighters since Roy Jones Jr. on your hand. You're doing such a shit job pushing himself out there. But let's go on with this. Bob Arum said, I could build a house in Beverly Hills on the money I lost on him in the last 3 fights. And this sparked a response from Dana White. Dana White said, can you imagine if I said that? Are you effing kidding me? You guys would murder me if I said that. I'd never hear the end of that. That's what you do. That's not Crawford's effing problem. That's your problem. His problem isn't to figure out how you make money. You effing signed a deal with this kid. Your job is to promote him. You made a deal. All these kids that I signed, if you look at all the kids that we signed, our roster is very inflated right now. We have a very big roster right now, the biggest we've ever had in the history of this company. I have to pay these kids. How I pay them is not their effing problem. It's my effing problem. So imagine me saying, oh, I got to pay Conor McGregor this much money. I could have bought a house in Beverly Hills. Shut up, you effing, no, shut the F up, you effing scumbag. Pay your effing fighter what you owe him. That's your job. Bob Arum is a piece of effing shit. So I got a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, there's a lot there. Yeah.
Yeah, so one of my things about the irony of it all is that Dana White thinks that he's actually paying his fighters. So that's number one. Number two is that Bob Arum can't even promote Bud Crawford. I feel like I don't even have a promoter's license, and I'm pretty sure I can promote Bud Crawford better than Bob Arum. So what you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on right there. I mean, Dana White's making, $20 million a year? And some of his fighters are making to where they still have to work jobs. So I don't think he's one to really call out, Bob Arum. But man, Crawford made $5.5 million off that fight.
Yeah.
So I mean, what can Dana White say about his fighters where he's saying, I don't know. There's a lot going on right there. Yeah.
I will defend Dana on this. When it comes to the prelim fighters, there's no damn question that UFC fighters are getting paid way more than a fighter that was on the Wilder Fury card. Because I actually pulled this up. The curtain puller for that card was Marcellus Wilder versus David Damore. David Damore made $2,500 off of that, whereas Marcellus Wilder only pulled $10,000. And if you look at the Daniel Cormier, Stipe Miocic card, I just pulled a random card up. Emily Whitmer made $20,000, and Jamie Moyle made $12,000. That's like Dana is paying his prelim fighters, but is he paying his main event fighters what they deserve? Absolutely not. So,
no. And that's the thing. Boxing and MMA are always, as much as people think it's the same, it's really oranges to apples as way as with the Ali Act and the way the money falls and stuff. And it's totally different until the fighters unionize in MMA. It's going to be this way.
Yeah, we'll never see the $4 million, $3 million just showing up money for our main event fighters. No, not even Conor gets that money.
Yeah. It's just like we've said this on pretty much every single episode. MMA is still in its infancy, and until they can kind of figure it out, it's going to be like this. I mean, boxing's been around for God knows how long, and just until they can really figure out something the way that these fighters are paid properly. Like I said, Dana White's making like $20 million a year. How much are these fighters making a year? And for him to say that Bob Arum's not paying these guys, kind of need to take a look at what he's making compared to what his fighters are making.
Right. There's one thing I'll never get tired in this sport is the Dana White Bob Arum rivalry. That's always good for some good.
He just
Dana
doesn't
White.
like Bob, and that's always going to be something that's going to pop up. Anytime he can poke at Bob, it's gonna happen.
And the fact that he said pay your fighters what you owe them, it just that made me just
that was a big line right there.
Yeah, I was just browsing like that headline. Dana White says, pay your fighters what you owe. And that notification came up on my phone. I was walking around checking my students' work, and it just made me stop in my tracks like, wait, what the hell? Like, that came out of that guy's mouth. But anyways, so let's move on. Last topic of the night. You're going to be doing color commentary on Fight app for Gulf Coast MMA tomorrow night. So what we got on the menu? We got Austin Swallow versus Gage Gill. Both guests on our show. Gage was last week. Austin was a guest week before. They're going to be fighting for bantamweight strap. So what else we got on that menu?
Yeah, we got 4 title fights. Also in featherweight, Braxton King. He was supposed to face Nakia Brown. Nakia came down with COVID, unfortunately. But they brought back Jarius Jackson, who was the champion. He was going to turn pro for this event, but he's going to take one more amateur fight to defend his title against Braxton King. That's definitely going to be, a good scrap there. The main event is Jonathan Island versus Brandon Davis, who was in the UFC. So Jonathan Island has really been, he's a really hot prospect out of New Orleans area. This is a big chance you could beat somebody like Brandon Davis. That'll really help your stock a lot. Yeah. So I mean, there's 4 title fights, 14 fights total as of right now. When I get there, tomorrow, we'll see how it shakes up. Things always happen. But yeah, like one of the guests we had on earlier, Carlton Terrance, he's fighting on that card.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, we got it. It's a killer card. It's going to be on Fight TV. It's FITE. Download the app. Get the events like $15. For 14, 15 fights, $1 a fight. Compared to the UFC when you're paying $40, $50 a fight. This is nothing, and this goes towards those local organizations that are helping promote these fighters.
Yeah. All right. So anything else before we get up out of here?
No, I think that's it. Everybody check out Gulf Coast MMA tomorrow, GCMMA tomorrow on Fight TV.
$15, I swear.
Yeah.
If $15, you do not like that card, I will pay you back your $15. That's a guarantee.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, 14 fights, 4 title fights. Former UFC fighter Brandon Davis taking on Jonathan Island. It's a very hot prospect out of the New Orleans area. So yeah, very hot card tomorrow.
All right, so thank you, Carlton, Terrance. Thank you, AJ Fletcher, for coming on. We'll definitely have both guys come back on in the future. So that's it for us tonight. Thank y'all for joining the club. And remember the first rule about AYS Fight Club. What is that, Matt?
Tell all your friends about AYS Fight Club.
All right, everybody. See y'all. Oh, a reminder, we are not on next week. Spend time with your families. Don't worry about the fighting next week. Tomorrow, next week, fight with your families. That's the fight you got to focus on. Don't worry about professional fighters. All right, we're out of here.
That's it.